This is going to be great, Kieran. I think. I'm not.
Well, yeah,
I'm not sure.
you've said it all now, but
It should be great.
Yeah,
it might not be great.
I think when people sort of see the name of the distillery on the label and the vintage sitting there, there's going to be a lot of whetted appetites, I'd imagine.
And the bottler as well. It sort of combines, on paper, this could be spectacular. So, Port Ellen Distillery, tell me about Port Ellen. What do you know?
It's probably one of the most sort of revered names in Scotch whisky. Legendary Islay Distillery, producing for a long time, and then so they closed in the 80s?
83.
There we go. And since then, the stock that they have has been continued to be bottled, and I think with every release that they did until they stopped was sort of going up in sort of fanfare. You know, people go mad for it, really.
Yeah, I think any Islay single malt the last few years has become very, very popular. The fact that it's a closed distillery, there's a finite amount of it left, has only kind of added to that excitement. So I'm excited to try this one. I have heard from a few sort of cynical people in the whiskey industry that Port Ellen closed for a reason, because it wasn't that great. I think I've only tried maybe one or two before, and it was fine. It was a smoky Islay single malt, but I wouldn't say it was distinctive from something like, a Kalila, which makes smoky whiskey and it's good.
Yeah.
It wasn't sensational. It didn't blow me away. Is it one that you've tried before? Or?
Yeah, I've tried a few different expressions, all generally on the older side. You know, it's all the sort of newer bottlings. I enjoyed it. I think it's because I like that style, and you can always cautious. You can kind of get caught up in the hype sometimes if you're around other whiskey people drinking something that's so beloved. Everyone can sort of just be a bit almost fanatical about something.
Yeah, I think Port Ellen's probably a good one to try blind. And I think people say, it's good, it's got a bit of smoke to it. But I think I can't work out what my expectations are for this one. It should be good. As I say, it's bottled by Samaroli, who are the legendary Italian bottlers and importers. Silvano Samaroli had a legendary palate, so had a reputation of picking the very best casks. So in theory, this should be an excellent Port Ellen. In terms of the stats, if you like, it was distilled 1975 and matured for 23 years old. Only 744 bottles and bottled at 45%. So I think it'll be kind of mellow after 23 years of maturation. It's not going to be rugged. It's not going to be too fiery. In terms of smokiness, Port Ellen, how do you say it compares to the likes of Laphroaig and Ardbeg and Bowmore? Is there any parallels?
It's kind of hard to say. It would have been fascinating to try it, obviously, when it was younger. So my experience is drinking it as an older whiskey, and you lose that peatiness, whether it's a cask influence or whatever, tends to dominate more than the smoke when it comes to an older whiskey. So it's definitely discernibly Islay from my memory, but it's not, you're right, it's not your standard off-the-shelf Laphroaig, Ardbeg, which are kind of slapping the chops when you drink them.
It's not TCP iodine. It's kind of a different sort of smoke from my experience. But we can open this up and see what kind of smoke reveals itself, if any. Let's see how we get on with this cork as well. It's been, that's a worrying start. It's been here for a while. Hopefully it's been well looked after.
It's always a danger with these older bottles is how much disintegration's happened, and
I feel like
how that'll affect the whiskey inside as well.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to join the Screw Cap Appreciation Society because they just work. They're just really good. I think we're getting somewhere now. Let's get
it's looking promising anyway.
Let's see if we can tease it out. Nope.
Is that gone?
Yep. Okay. Right, Corkscrew. Our special guest, Mr. Corkscrew, is going to come save the day. It's the first one of today, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll leave this in your hands. I won't want to take the fault for any corkage.
And I'll be taking this home to filter it tonight. Cut the atmosphere with a knife. That's a big corky mess. No. Right, I'm just going to pop that in. Right. How much cork would you like with your whiskey? 1 lump or 2?
Yeah, it's just an additional bit of, I don't know, fibre, maybe, when we say that. So don't think it classes as protein, but let's
see what I can do. That's pretty good. I'll give that one to you. I think I've done it right, actually. Cool. Right. Port Ellen, 1975. Not every day you get to try something like this. What do you think? Not a huge amount of smoke coming through, actually, which maybe isn't a huge surprise given its age.
Yeah, there is a certain sort of coastal funkiness to it. Yeah, it's almost like sort of cooked seaweed or something.
Yeah, it does sound like a music genre. Yeah. Coastal funk. I'd listen to that. But it's pleasant on the nose. I think you can tell it's not obviously cask strength. It's quite gentle, it's quite inviting, but not simplistic, I wouldn't say.
Yeah, I think because I have a tendency to lean towards this style, I think inviting is definitely the word I would say. It's wanting me. Even despite seeing the floaters there, I'm keen to have a try here.
I tried my best. But yeah, we'll give us a try. Cheers.
Cheers.
This is quite special.
For me, that's quite citrusy. There's like quite a profound, like sort of lemony element.
It's quite savoury as well. I know with some smokiness, it can be very, very sweet. We've been lucky to have some Bowmores, which have that like tropical fruit smoke to it, which is delicious. This is a little bit more, it's quite kind of drying, I think. A little bit savoury, maybe a touch of bitterness on there as well. It's, I don't know, the finish is a little bit shorter than I would have thought.
Yeah, I think given the age and it's a heavily peated dram, you might expect a bit more on that front. I'm getting the smoke and the sort of earthy peatiness on the palate, definitely. But yeah, you're right, there's actually not much of a finish there.
Yeah, it's a little bit underwhelming. I think if I gave that to you, I don't know, if I gave that to you blind and a blind dram of each of the core range single malts of the current Islay distilleries, you wouldn't pick this out and be like, this is a level above compared to, standard.
Yeah, a normal Lagavulin
or 8-year-old or whatever.
Yeah, probably not. Truth be told, I would say this was like 20 years-ish, give or take. I think there's probably younger whiskies in that style that I personally prefer.
Yeah, it feels...
And compared to other Port Ellen that I've tried, it's, again, maybe I'm just confirming what I said earlier. I got caught up in the romance when I've had it before.
I think that's it. It's very, very easy to do. I just don't think it's particularly tasty. Like, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not... It doesn't excite me. It's not something I'm going to remember tasting, I don't think.
Yeah, and I think that even just saying this, you're aware there'll be people listening to us who'd be like, up in arms at just the idea of just dragging Port Ellen's name through the mud a wee bit here.
Yeah.
But it's not blowing my mind.
No, I mean, they produced a lot of it, Port Ellen. It wasn't a small, artisanal distillery where each cask was, carefully monitored. They were churning this stuff out at the rate of knots. And I don't feel like this was a particularly special cask. Even though it's Samaroli, even though it had this amazing reputation, for me, this isn't standing out as a spectacular Islay single malt. I'm
inclined to agree. I think, again, maybe I came in with my expectations a little too high. Definitely a wee bit of disappointment with this. But again, it's not that it's a bad dram. It's enjoyable, but it's just not changing my life in the way that I'd hoped it would.
No, it's okay, but, we're talking about a whiskey which is, £1,000 plus. And you can buy a lot of amazing whiskey for that sort of money. So for me, again, a great opportunity, a great, chance to try something amazing. But in judging it purely on the liquid, I'm pretty unimpressed.
Yeah,
pretty underwhelmed.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I lie as well. It'll be obviously it's got such a strong reputation. But obviously not every bottle's going to be a 10 out of 10, is it?
No, definitely.
That's the problem.
Cheers anyway.
Enjoy.
Nice to share it with you.